BC, and our first race today is the Pro 750 production class.
This race is usually reserved for the pro riders on strictly stock machines with all the manufacturers represented. However, several top amateurs have been allowed to start in this event today, Pat.
Steve Crevier there, Craig. Try to heat up that rear tire as we get set to go. There's the drop of the flag to field away. Lalonde, number 14, Crevier 73, and Dick 101 will charge into that first turn, and it's number 14, Ken Lalonde, with the lead through turn 1. Crevier, number 73, trying to chase him down, and then Steve Dick, number 101, back in that third place position. So the West Coast riders grab the top spots here on the opening lap. Through turn 2, up into 3, it's still Lalonde by a few bike lengths. Crevier trying to chase him down. Dick, number 101, in third, and then 185, Tommy Douglas, through in the fourth place spot. The field really stringing out. We've got a rider going down here in turn 3. One of our local amateur riders who was at the back of the pack bailing off. The rider appears to be okay. Into the hairpin, 14, Lalonde will lead it. 101, Steve Dick on the inside of Crevier will take over second. Then it's 73, Crevier, and Douglas 185. Extremely close racing here on this opening lap. Up through the S's, Lalonde 14, still holding the advantage. 101, Dick up into second, Crevier running third, and 185, Douglas back in the fourth place spot. Lalonde breaks for turn 1. That downhill right-hand turn is a tricky one. One fast line through there, and you can get into a lot of trouble if you get off the fast racing line. Lalonde braking, downshifting, leans it left through turn 2. Rider number 101, Dick is right there, and Crevier right on his rear tire.
Well, you know, Pat, Crevier's riding very sore today. He's got a broken collarbone that only happened a week ago, so he must find it tough coming over Deer's Leap on the back straight.
Well, Craig, this is one amazing rider, and it's really amazing to see him brake as hard as he is into the hairpin and stay here with Lalonde and Dick. Crevier 73 trying to chase him down as they move up through the S's. And again, that's going to be putting an awful lot of pressure and stress on that broken collarbone.
Well, he's a tough kid, but he's sure got a tough race in front of him today. You know, Ken Lalonde, he's stretched out some kind of lead. I asked him earlier if his Westwood experience that he's had here all year helps him in a race like today.
Well, I know where the bumps are, and it's a very bumpy track, so I know where to go and basically when to pass, whereas people like Paul McMillan and that don't have that, you know, don't have the track times that I've had on this track. So I know it like the back of my hand. It's a bumpy track, and it takes a long time to really know it. It's not like a flat track like in Calgary with new pavement, and it's every rider you can take a different line. This one, there's only so many lines you can take to get around that corner the right way. Otherwise, it's going to bounce your rear end around.
Ken Lalonde has taken all the right lines so far here today at Westwood. He continues to lead this Pro 750 production race. The motorcycle sliding out of the hairpin. Dick, number 101, and Crevier still trying to chase him down. Local amateur rider Richard Mitchell is having a good run up among the amateur riders. Lalonde braking for turn 1 as things really start to tighten up front, Craig. Crevier 73 and Dick, number 101, have really started to twist that throttle a little bit harder. They're closing in on number 14, Ken Lalonde, who's led it each time across the line so far here today. Lalonde try to hold off Dick, number 101, on the Honda, and then 73 Crevier also up on one of the Yamaha FZR750s. They'll go side by side onto the back straightaway. Over Deer's Leap, Lalonde still holding off the charge by Crevier 73 on the inside of Dick into the hairpin, but Dick manages to hold on to the second place position. And the fans are seeing some of the best production racing here at Westwood in a long, long time. The front-running 3 riders still tied together. There's 87 Norm Murphy. He's running well back off the pace.
Well, Pat, I can tell you something about Westwood myself. I know that it's not a racetrack that you can learn in just one day, so I didn't expect Murphy to be right up with these leaders right off the bat. It's a very bumpy track, and it takes a lot of experience to get around here fast.
Crevier 73 really working on Steve Dick for that second place position, and they've both closed right up on Ken Lalonde, the leader. Here's Crevier on the inside. He'll take over the second place spot.
Well, I think he's waited back there long enough, Pat. He's figured it out, and here are the standings for the Pro 750 production race, and it's an all-Western Canada race at the moment. It appears that knowing the bumps at Westwood is going to be the answer to winning.
Well, there is Crevier by into the second place spot. 57 Fletcher running in fourth, and Tommy Douglas, the only Eastern rider to crack the top 5 here this afternoon. You can see Douglas getting a little bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Lalonde up through the S's by about 12 bike lengths. The race for second place. They're side by side across the line, and it is 73 Crevier trying to retake second, and he'll move back around into the number 2 spot. Nice move by Crevier. He held the throttle on just a split second longer than Dick, and he'll move his Yamaha into the number 2 spot. But Dick and Crevier have really been putting on a show here at Westwood for the largest motorcycle crowd in the history of this racing facility. There is 87 Murphy running with amateur rider Richard Mitchell, so Murph is well off the pace here today. Up front, the battle for the lead into the hairpin. Crevier up on the outside of Lalonde, but Lalonde will hold him off. Dick, number 101 on the Honda right there, and things really starting to tighten up now, Craig, as the riders continue to push the pace up front.
Oh, you bet. And there's Tommy Douglas. He's hanging in a good place in 5th spot, trying to gather points for this national championship.
There's Crevier making a bid for the lead. He's right up alongside of Lalonde across the line. Crevier grabs the lead. Beautiful pass by Crevier. Again, he's been one of the fastest riders through that section of the racetrack, and he finally does get around Ken Lalonde. So it's Crevier, your leader. Lalonde in second, 101. Steve Dick right there in third.
Well, it was a nice pass by Crevier, and I see Norm Murphy's drop back another spot. It must be tough going for him after his Calgary accident, and here's a replay of that fall last week. It happened on the last lap while Norm was in third behind Michel Mercier, number 1.
Yes, it was a bad crash, Craig, because Norm seemed to roll with the bike, that brand new Suzuki that was running so well for the team.
Well, it was a bad break for Norm, and I asked him earlier what it was like riding with a damaged back.
What have I experienced so far with riding with a back injury that I've received last weekend in Calgary? It's put me back a lot, and I can't lean down, I can't get behind the windshield, I can't corner very fast, so I'm just going to really sit back and try and collect some points this week, and that's the best I can do.
Steve Crevier over Deer's Leap, and the best he can do is run up front. Crevier already lapping some of the slower traffic as he breaks for the hairpin. And Craig, it's amazing that with that broken collarbone, he is able to run as strong as he has here. There is Lalonde, number 14, getting through on the inside. Crevier got a little bit wide there in the hairpin. He'll run side by side again with Lalonde, and Crevier will retake the lead. What a job by Crevier as they move up through and into turn 1. Steve Crevier, who lost the lead there for a moment, charges right back up front. Lalonde 14 in second, 101. Steve Dick still right there in the third place spot.
Well, I think for a minute there, Crevier went asleep in the hairpin, Pat, because when he was lapping that slower rider, he almost lost this whole thing.
There's Mario Duhamel, 76. He is running in the 6th place spot. And there is rider number 3, Dave Chitter, one of the local riders. He has pulled off the racetrack. That's your amateur class leader right now, number 373. That is Peter Holzinger from Banff, Alberta. He's having a fine run here today. Mario Duhamel, number 76, off the racetrack. He'll get back on without losing a position. Crevier, 73, your leader. Lalonde, number 14, in traffic. In fact, Lalonde now about to lap number 87, Norm Murphy, and he'll do that under braking going into the hairpin. So that'll give you an idea as to the pace being set here by Crevier, Lalonde, and Dick. They have lapped much of the field. Lalonde still trying to chase down Crevier, and there's your third place rider on the Honda. Steve Dick pulling a wheelie coming out of the turn across the line. Crevier, 73, will take the checkered flag for the win. Lalonde, number 14, will finish second, and Dick will finish back in third.
Well, there's a happy Crevier waving at the crowd, Pat. I'm sure he's very, very tired with his broken collarbone and all, but you know this win's got to make up for a lot of sore spots.